Alright peeps, welcome back. Sorry for the weekend. Season 2. I thought I'd start, right, with this one, let's do a few videos doing the same thing, right, but at different levels of analytical maturity, I guess is probably the way I'd put it, right. So, for today, let's look at kind of Newcastle upon Tyne and the food hygiene in the area, yeah? How goods were baked up here. So here we are, right? I've got to Excel, okay? In Excel, I've built some pivot tables. I've got 4 pivot tables because I've got 4 tables of data, yeah? I've got South Tyneside's food hygiene data, I've got Newcastle's food hygiene data, I've got North Tyneside's, and I've got Gateshead. So the 4 authorities really around the Tyne. Brilliant, isn't it? Okay, then I've pulled them in to do pivots for each one of them. And they're all separate because they're all different tables. And they're different tables because the source file for each of them is different. So this is kind of how it is in Excel, isn't it? You kind of start, I've got my extract that's come from somewhere, I'm going to copy and paste it in, right? You might, and you could do it with this as well, I might decide, well, I'm going to copy and paste them underneath each other, right, and make one big data table, right? It's a hassle, because when I have to add another one, it gets complicated, right? And that's kind of common with Excel. That's the way Excel works. And this is one of those areas where you're going, well, if we check the website where we get these files from, it says they're downloaded daily, or they're updated daily, yeah? So that's a problem potentially for me, isn't it? You know, I've got this is going to be updated daily. I need to make sure that I can update my tables daily as well, don't I? So what can I do? So the simplest way is going to be to stick with Excel. So I thought today we'll stick with Excel. And this is kind of one of the things that we'll do when we're looking at our introduction to Power Query course. So we're going to do it in Power Query. So what I've done is I've set up a folder, okay, and it's got 4 XML files in it. Nothing particularly special there, is there? Just 4 XML. And what we want to do is connect Excel and get Excel to just read those 4 XML files, and then I've got a table of data, haven't I? And then tomorrow, when I get the new file, all I need to do is copy it into that folder and refresh my Excel spreadsheet. Be easy that, man. Dead easy. So how do we do it? Because this is one of those things no one really says to you, this is how you start. Okay, so you've seen I've got my folder with the 4 files in it. In Excel, let's get a nice new Excel spreadsheet. Okay, in Excel, we're going to go to data. And what we want to do is we want to get data. And we're going to go from file and pick a folder. Okay? And this is one of the least intuitive things about this whole thing, right? Why on earth am I getting it from a folder? I want to read some files. Because we're going to go to the folder and read the files in from the folder. And if you're going to get a daily file or something like that, I would tell you do the folder every time. Because if you do a file and the file name changes, something happens with the file, it doesn't work. It stops working. And then you've got to go and change the query every day. If you point at a file, we'll show you, you can do it and it'll just work with whatever files is there. So I've picked from folder. Okay. I'm going to put in c.stroke pq intro where I've put them. Okay, and that's where I'm going to be. Okay. Now, it's time. This is what's in the folder, right? Well, whoop-de-doo, man. You know, I can see what's in the folder. You haven't done out for me yet, have you? Okay, this is intuitive or non-intuitive step number 2 for Power Query. Right? It's the same with Power BI. Right? Hit transform data. Right? I wish it was the default one. Transform data is the right thing to do. Once you've pulled these through, this is where you can do some filtering and limit to make sure you've got the right things. So if, for example, we knew that our extract was going to come through and it might be like this FHRS 417, right? And 417 is our key that we're looking for. We look for just 417. We don't want the others, for example, right? We could filter it down here to say, you know, with a text filter that it contains, say, 417. Click OK, right? And we've now filtered it. Okay. Whatever you do to filter it, to get it the right way, and I've seen different, using file types, I've seen all sorts of things on it. It doesn't matter. The main thing to do and the main step to remember is once you've got the file or files that you need, so you need to remember, hit this 2 arrows with a line. Okay, the 2 arrows in the line. Hit that. What that means, that's the combine files button. So that's going to take these files and say, based on the first one, this is how I combine them into one table of data. So you can do this, in this case we're doing it with XML files. You could do it with CSV files, with XLSX files. We'll click that button now and we'll combine the files. So I've clicked it. It's going to evaluate the query. What's happening behind the scenes is we've got a basic sample which we're going to use, which is from the first file that it comes to. So you can see its sample file is going to be the first file. I could tell it to do something different or a specific one, but we'll say the first one. And it's come through and said, well, this is how my file looks. What do I need to do? For this, we're going to say we want the establishment details. Okay, this is the table of data, isn't it, that we've got. So we're going to click OK. And now what it's doing is it's actually writing a function in M that's going to parse those files together. So you're actually going to build a set of data from it. And you can see now it's expanded this query stack, and you can see we've got the intro, we've got the sample file, and then here you can see we've actually got a function. And I can right click on it and look at the advanced editor and read the code for it. But I don't want to, not going to upset you with that now. Right? So here I go, right? I've got a table of data that's built from that. There's a couple of things that we get with it. Just this is to do with this data set. And this is one of the areas that you need to be more aware about and think through as you're going through and doing this yourselves, is what do these things mean? So in here, we've got ratings date, for example, and it's just because of the way it's ended up being. So I'm going to expand that out, or I could choose to get rid of it. Okay, so I'm going to expand it out. We're going to say, don't keep the original column name as a prefix, and what we want is the element. So we've now got this date value that was there for it. Okay, further along we've got some scores, and we can see this is to do with hygiene, structural and confidence in management. Again, we can click to expand that, say we want all of them. Let's go, there we go. Alright, and I've got that value now, those values there. And then lastly, we've got the geocode, which we need if we're going to do a map, don't we? So let's just keep the latitude and longitude. Suddenly, it's built, isn't it? That's easy enough to do. There's one thing I want to do for this, and I was trying to think through the right way to do it, and it's this ratings value. And if you look, what you see is it goes from, we've got awaiting inspection, awaiting publication, exempt, and I did see a 0. If we load more, we might have a 0. Got a 0 again. So I think what we need to do with this is probably put a conditional column on. Okay? So we know we've got awaiting inspection, awaiting publication, and exempt, and we could put a conditional column on, and then that'll help us number them properly. So I'll add that now, and then we can cut back in and we'll talk about it. Alright, so I've created this table, or this column here. Okay. The idea of having like the last one, I've come back, let's look at it. Right, I've put an extra clause on that's going to be 99. So we can then tell if we start seeing something else, whoa, we've missed something in the past, a new value's been added. That was the reason for that. The initial plan I had was just to put these ones in and then, if in doubt, use this one. But although that's not going to work, because then you'd get blanks, and blanks are always a pain. Right, I'd rather it's a 99 and we can then look and say, we've got a 99 in this column, we need to find out what's in that ratings value column. Okay? So because we've got this now, we can change the data type. So if we click on the heading, or next to the heading, there's a data type field. We're going to pick whole number for it, because that was the point. So we had a whole number field that we could then use to sort our text field by. Okay? So we've done this. This has built that table of data. Okay, now all I need to do is come home. I can hit close and load. Right, and that's going to actually now run this query stack, extract those four XML files, process them, and you can see I've now got a table of data. And if we look here, based on the local authority names, we can see we've got all four. So we've got all four in there, good to go. Okay, we can see from the dates, some of them are a lot older, and this is because the files I've just used were older, and there's a reason for it, because what I wanted to do was show you that it's possible to make changes to this really quickly and easily. Okay, so for here, if you remember, if we went back to a spreadsheet, not to a spreadsheet, sorry, to the website, and let's scroll down to Newcastle. There's only one Newcastle, not really two, right? Click on there. And then we're going to save this as. So I've saved that file now. 416. So now if I copy that over from my downloads. Okay, so if I copy this down here. Let's compare the info on both the files. We can see this one's from March, this one's from now. So what I'm going to do, cancel on that, replace the file in the destination. So it's going to update it now. So the next day I've got new files through. I've repeated that process to get all the files through. What do I need to do now? All I need to do is hit refresh all. And it's going to go back to my data set, get that new file, process it. It'll read all four of them in and do it. And if I wanted to add an additional one, so remember we just had the 4 before, if we go back, let's do Durham, okay. Save as, save, let's do the same again, come back to me documents, okay, refreshed everything, it's going to go away, do that, and remember I have not done anything to change what's going to be, what this is expecting to see. Right, but now if we go through here and have a look at our local authority names, we should see we've now got Durham. So I've just dropped a file in, processed it, worked fine, I haven't done anything to that, that's easy peasy that like. And this is what you start to get with Power Query. So if you remember on my original spreadsheet, here, I do have a 3D map. They look terrible on here because they just don't scale for this. They don't scale for the monitor that I record these on. Right, but you can see I've got a lovely map showing performance across Newcastle. All of a sudden now though, if we close this, and let's go back to the one that we've just created, I could do the same, couldn't I? But this time do it with this across all 5 regions. So if I go to me data, oh sorry, me insert even, another 3D maps, open 3D maps. Okay, it's going to pick out latitude and longitude straight away. Okay, and we can see, there they are, in there, no problem. Okay, we can So straight away, you can see, we can build these up, can't we? We could go through, I could choose to create a pivot table on a new worksheet. Let's bring through, like we had before, let's have the local authority name. Let's put the ratings values along there. And then we can put account. Right, so we can start to really understand what's actually happening. And we've got the drill through capabilities like we would have normally. So for Durham, we could choose to go and see where the problem sites. We could see for Gateshead, there's this one, we're awaiting publication of the records, of the details of it. So we could see, we could go in, we could have a look. Okay? So what do you reckon then? Right? Excel and the 3D maps that you get in Excel, especially for this kind of point location things, they ain't the best, right? So that Excel 3D map, okay. Next week what we'll do though is we'll go through and we'll repeat this in Power BI, but let's see if we can streamline it further. So don't forget, we've gone from the idea of saying, well, I can download a file daily or I receive a file daily, which, let's be honest, for a lot of businesses when you're starting with Power BI, that's how it is, isn't it? You get emailed a file and then I do some jiggery-pokery with it and then I send out report content afterwards. What we've done this time is we've been able to say, well, I can receive the file, I can put it in a folder and I can hit refresh and it's done. It's my work done. That's all I really need to do. Everything else will work fine. Okay? We were even able to just drop in a whole new area or even potentially change it because, well, I'm interested in Newcastle today and the area around Newcastle, but you know, my bosses might like, oh, this is dead good. Can we add Sunderland? Oh, can we add Northumberland? Can we do it? Can we, you know, things start to expand, and this is one of those areas where you see Power BI drive in improvements really, and it drives the question. So the question will come, well, how do we compare to there? And then, well, I don't know, we can get the data and figure it out though, boss, right? And you do that. So if we go and we connect it in Power BI, but what about if we tried, instead of having the file, can we connect directly to the website and have it just pull from the website? Does that work? We'll have to see next week, won't we? So I hope you've enjoyed this. Right, something for the weekend. It's definitely something for you to have a try at yourselves. I'll put the 4 files, I'll put the 4 files on geordieintelligence.co.uk. If you want to download them, feel free. Don't forget, like and subscribe down below. Head on over to Geordie Intelligence, and while you're there, please enroll, become a member, you know, support the channel, and have a great weekend. Stay safe, take care, ta-ra.